Hi everyone, I have a lot on my mind that I want to talk about with the community. And this is the perfect opportunity to nail two birds with one stone. So recently I hit 150k subs on YouTube, and I've never made a video this open before, but I want to talk in depth about the Sonic community and some changes I want to see us all make, as well as the positives, and talk about uplifting other creators, as my platform tripled in the past year alone.
I tripled myself.
And we haven't had a sit down in a long time. So there's a lot I've never even spoken about. And no matter what you think of me or anyone in this community, I want us to be able to come together, and I think everyone will agree with what I have to say, at least by the end, and maybe open their minds a little. So let's begin.
Many times when you hear the Sonic community, it is often associated with something negative.
I know there can be kind of a negative stigma surrounding the fan base of Sonic the Hedgehog.
The comments think that if a video from like 10 years ago is still up, I still think that way. But it's not like these creators still think that way.
And I know that a lot of you are probably not convinced that this community is great. And that's cool, because I'm going to spend the rest of this video explaining to you why this is a pretty cool place.
It is easy for us to turn on each other and to put each other down simply over opinions on a series.
Naturally, the way YouTube is designed makes other creators in the same genre of content hyper competitive with each other and get really cliquey. It creates a serious divide, and I've seen this countless times in the community before. For example, let's say me and another creator both cover news, which many people do as well as me, so I'm not thinking of anyone in particular here. But regardless of if a YouTube creator is comfortable enough to be open about it, there's this sense of rivalry, which can be healthy, but the way YouTube is so gamified and is all a big numbers competition leads to a building up of sore feelings between these competitor channels, and this is not healthy. I think this tension and bitterness we all have over numbers and analytics is so dumb. These are things I personally don't care about, and as someone who's doing objectively pretty alright, I don't look at anyone else's numbers but my own. As long as you're satisfied with your content and how your audience is receiving it, that's what matters. You should be competitive, but I think it's healthiest to compete against your past 10 videos in the 1 out of 10 chart. As long as you keep making quality videos, people will come. It just takes time. But this tension between what's seen as competitors is one of the reasons you very rarely see a big variety of creators collaborating with each other. Most of the audience watches multiple Sonic creators, and with us all doing really well right now, might I even say a golden era in the Sonic community, there's clearly views to go around. Also, this is tension that gets immediately squashed whenever you meet IRL and get to connect in that real way, but gets compounded since we're all virtual, and it just makes everything worse for everyone. There's a lot of eyes on the Sonic franchise, and with how much is coming out, I get it. Right now is a good time for not just me, but everyone. Stunks on Sonic are through the roof. I think we need to take a step back from looking at these other creators as channels and look at them as people. I don't want to get too real here, but everyone who talks about it says if they found out they had 8 months to live, they would want to mend any bridges that have been burnt over the years. And no matter what your age is, these things come at very shocking and unexpected times for everyone around you, and you never know when you're next. Whether it's car accidents, random cancers, being hit a little too hard on the head, or any number of things, there is no telling. And outside this stupid digital stuff, this life is really all we have. You don't want to leave it with any open ends. I've been working hard to grow as a person, improve my character, and with that I've wanted to mend any bridges, not for some public look, but for my own well-being. I recently reached out to a few different people who have had varying levels of beef with me over the years to bury all my hatchets and make good with everyone. And every person I talked to was a success and resulted in great conversations and getting a mutual understanding of each other. There is no good reason we shouldn't all be friendly and wholesome together, and as the person with the largest platform, at least on the YouTube side, I want to use this opportunity to promote positivity and unity within the community. I didn't expect that to rhyme. Like I was saying, these divides between the community are very real. You don't know about most of them because both sides are mature enough to at least keep it private. Literally every Sonic tuber I can think of has been in some
major heated beef
with another creator. And I'm not trying to air anyone out, and obviously won't name specifics. But I'm saying it's something nobody wants to be attached to. And if the other person is petty enough to go public, which happened to me, it sucks! You don't want to respond, but when there are such blatantly false claims of, quote, racism by showing my girlfriend in my videos, taking advantage of the autistic community by being autistic myself and making over-edited videos, even though it's obviously just the style of content I personally enjoy. And with these coming at you, you have to respond. It sounds silly now, but the way it was framed really convinced a decent group of people for a minute. Some of you may say,
It's easier to not respond.
but when you have videos from two big creators dropped at once on you, the hate you're getting is going to be strong because they have no way of knowing none of it's even true. And it's not even their fault that they don't know, but it won't get better for you until they know. Because of how well my response was received, I didn't even lose subs from it, but actually gained. It was super thorough and I worked to get it out quickly because seriously, getting hate on all platforms for days in a row is bad for your mental health, especially when you're away and can't even really respond. I'm a person too, and getting barrages of hate does affect me. I know that's so crazy, right? However, the important thing to note from this is Premi was not the one to do those things, and when we talked, he disavowed those entirely and withdrew any support of that video, which was a nice thing to do, and he was more than okay with me letting you guys know that things are cool. There's no drama or anything. But the fact that I've mended those bridges shows that we're all adults and can move on. No matter who it is, if you have some sort of tiff or tension with some other creator or maybe even as an audience member, I encourage you to try to think from their perspective, no matter who it is. I think we should all spread the message of unity and forgiveness within the community. If you're a creator watching this and you have a feeling like, oh, Jaden's so obnoxious, and you have some beef with me, please feel free to reach out and say, hey, it really wasn't cool when you did blank. It's certainly something we can talk through because it's not like in my public or private life that I've ever done anything that bad. Years ago, I was making dumb, unfunny, and offensive jokes. Nothing like racist or misogynistic or anything like that, but just jokes with the sheen of meanness to them, and I feel like I was just trying way too hard to fit in. And ironically, while I was calling things cringe, I was the one being cringe. I first realized this in late 2020 and made a video talking about my change in mindset and having to prove my character through actions, not just words. But I want to publicly acknowledge I was really mean in that video, and I really should have toned it down. I should have been making more lighthearted jokes instead of rude attacks. If I were to do that video right now, I wouldn't make those attacks. That was really unnecessary, and I completely accept any criticism of that video. It was not my proudest moment. And since this is our first heart-to-heart since then, and it's been a long time, if you've watched any of my videos in the past year, you know that it's been a total success. My content has been positive to the community as a whole, and I've done my best to use this platform to uplift smaller members at any opportunity I possibly can. The love has been unreal, and I genuinely thank you guys so much for sticking with me long enough to see me evolve like a Pokemon into this positive raccoon force. I personally take a liking for basically everyone here, and almost every one of the big players in the game has some level of acquaintanceship to friendship with me. And I hope to grow that with literally everyone, as there's a lot of cool, like-minded creators out there. It's been a little over a year since the great raccoon transition, and I am so happy with the constantly growing love and positive response from everyone. Being able to feel good about using my platform for good is a nice feeling, and it feels like I can really be my genuine self and don't have to try to fit in, which is why my old videos were so sporadic and wildly different. I was trying so hard to be cool and find a niche that I didn't realize just being myself is cool. And when I realized this and decided to just be me, that's when things started clicking. I went from getting 100 subs a month to thousands, and it's been so sick to have you guys literally growing alongside me. I've even grown like an inch in the course of these videos, but I do think it's over. I was unfortunately skill capped at 5'11". I couldn't even make it to 6 foot. Right before this all started doing well, I had an editing job that I initially thought I'd love because I love editing, and it started out paying pretty well. But it was just so soulless, and with the pay gradually going down, eventually it wasn't even worth the money. And I don't like getting too personal here, but with my mother having cancer, I knew I had to make money somehow, since I wasn't privileged enough to be raised financially well, and just want to help my family in any way I can. So to have you guys watch my videos and get so much love and support from Raccoon Nation genuinely means the world to me. And I'm so happy my niche sense of humor appeals to so many of you. Wow, you don't know how cool it is to be able to make these fun, super edited, just over-the-top pieces for you guys. I spend day and night waking up at 7 to 8 a.m. and going to bed between 1 to 2 a.m. just making videos for 90% of the day. And while that might sound exhausting, I love it. To be able to make a living and have this opportunity to show my jokes and present news with humor and personality, and to get to experiment with new formats in new and interesting ways is really satisfying to me. And I legitimately could not do this without you all. And I have so much fun filming these videos. Like, I didn't have to record a news video IRL in the rain. It definitely would have been easier to just do the raccoons like always. But I like switching it up once in a while to keep it fun and fresh. Not just for you, but me too. Also, the cows were cool, weren't they? One last thing I want to talk about with the community is a recent trend I've noticed online. Now, I'm not going to show any of the tweets because I don't want to shame any creators or fans, because that's definitely not the point of this. There's a lot of talk about creators and who's got integrity, which I think is just an excuse to tear down other creators, and is something I see almost daily on Twitter. I'll move past this somewhat quickly since it's not the main focus, but I do think it's a useful perspective that the audience doesn't get to see, and a lot of newer viewers haven't ever heard me talk about this before. But my view on clickbait is that it's fine within reason. I think making jokes and using arrows and flashy stuff to grab attention is just fine. It's something all the bigger creators do. And the reason the bigger creators are the ones that do it is because it works. The audience wants good content. As long as you cover everything in the thumbnail and title for the majority of the video, I think that's 100% fair game. Even if it's a speculation video, I think that's fair because it's literally what you're talking about. Anything else wouldn't be descriptive and would be an objectively bad thumbnail since it's not accurate to the content. If you lie in your title and thumbnail, people will leave and dislike immediately, and your video won't be shown to many people. Hence, my like ratio almost always being 98% and up. If the goal is good content and you succeed, everyone is happy and will enjoy the video, regardless of how they got there. But that's just my own personal thoughts. It's not like the objectively right mindset, but I do think most big creators would agree with me to a degree, since we all have somewhat similar mindsets and are all playing the same game. I think it's important I explain these things to an audience who simply doesn't get the same perspective and experience as a creator, and I don't fault any of you guys for getting upset and not understanding my own mindset, as it's really my fault for not explaining it better before. I always talk about the topic in the title and thumbnail, but don't get me wrong, I'm definitely playing the YouTube game, but it all boils down to a personal choice of what you think is okay, because everyone has to play it to a degree. When you open your home feed, your eyes automatically go to the best placed and well-composed thumbnail, and that's just something we all have to adapt to. And if everyone else is doing it and you aren't, you get left behind. And I know that's something my audience gets, or else they wouldn't still be here, but it's definitely not something the broader community gets. But all this to say, I am tired of going on Twitter every day and seeing fellow Sonic tubers being torn down by not just the audience, but other big creators supporting it too. People's videos are their videos, not their thumbnails and titles. And regardless, even if you hate it with an extreme passion, to send a wave of hatred from your audience and direct that towards a creator, straight up isn't cool. My message is to try to be understanding of other creators, and yeah, if someone has a pattern of being a total weirdo, I'm not saying hit them up and vibe, but if you're two adults, I think it's best to handle things like two adults. If you've given a second shot and they haven't shown any character change, that's their fault, but at least you gave the second chance. So yeah, definitely a different video, and probably different from any subscriber special you've ever seen before. But these are the real things I think about, and I honestly find it a lot more wholesome to spend this time uplifting the community, rather than be like, wow guys, 150k subs, we did it, aren't I so great, look at how awesome I am. You guys know I'm happy with hitting this milestone, but the numbers mean as much to me as the bright and exaggerated thumbnails. I'm a video creator, not an accounting analyst or graphic designer. I'm working as hard as I can, and I'm committed solely to the YouTube game. I just want you to watch and enjoy my videos, and as long as you guys keep enjoying the videos, that's the ultimate satisfaction for me. I don't know how long I'll have on this earth, but as long as I'm happy and able to share my craft, that's time well spent to me. Coincidentally, my birthday is the same day as Sonic's, June 23rd, so between now and then, I have to plan something extra cool. Maybe like a special video or stream or something. So yeah, I joined the Sonic show at around 50,000 subs, and with us now hitting 150, that means this is the real 100k. This is my 100k special. And heaven knows how many of those original subscribers we've lost. So yeah, double check your subbed and set the bell to all so you don't miss an epic gamer upload from me. Also, drop a thumbs up and comment your thoughts now that you've made it to the end. This will be an interesting video to read the comments on for sure. Just try to keep it positive is all I ask, and don't direct any hate towards anyone. Until next time, lots of love and peace. Peace!
Last Friday, when I was told he had minutes to live, I called him. The guy answered the phone, said I think he can hear you, but he hadn't said anything for most of the day. I said, Dad, I love you and you've been a wonderful father. And the last words he would ever say on earth were, I love you too.